Hello, old friend. I barely knew ye. We had a moment many moons ago, you and I. You were always here. So much so I wrote a book about you. I don't know if you remember. How's your mom in them?
Watch them grow, perceive, devote. This is the seed, light the show. Watch them grow.
Hello, Pisces. Princess India here, and what's not or whatever. Welcome to your June 2020 general energy reading. In this vicinity, you should see me shuffling your cards that are on my desk at present and whatnot or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and give a quick overview of you guys' cards. I'm using the Starseed Oracle for just like an overall general energy for you guys month. I love this deck. It's the bomb. It's great for the times that we're in. So if you're about that life, it's in the description below. And then we're going to get into your tarot cards. So the first card that we have is Fall into Your Arms. And it says, surrender, holding the opposites, extremes of life. And then the other card that we have is Karmic Relationships. Hello, old friend. I barely knew ye. We had a moment many moons ago, you and I. You were always here. So much so I wrote a book about you. I don't know if you remember. How's your mom in them? Are you doing all right out there in the ethers? Sorry, I had a moment. But we have Karmic Relationships, and it says Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, and conflict, which is hilarious. I just can't wait to dig into that. But Pisces, I don't know. Those of you who aren't new, I have a special affinity for Pisces because I spent 9 months in a Piscean womb. You know what I'm saying? I feel that has a lot to do with it. That and all of the 12th house placements that I have, you know what I'm saying? So I just have a special connection with you guys. You know, we get each other, you know what I'm saying? On a whole nother level. But this right here, like, especially with Taurus's reading too. This month, I don't know what's going on with readings, but I'm here for it because the stuff that's coming up for like all signs are things that I have studied in depth. So I'm like all excited to give you buku information. So if I start stuttering and getting all excited like I did in Taurus, don't judge me. But I know you won't because you love me. Moving right along. So first card that we have for you guys, your central energy for the month is the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. This is challenged by the Death card. Past influence that you're coming into the month of June with is the Five of Pentacles. Your underlying root energy is the Temperance in the reverse. Your above energy is the Ten of Wands. And then moving forward with the possibilities for the month or challenges that you guys could be facing in the near future is the Three of Swords. And at the bottom of you guys' deck, the why it's all happening is the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. Whew, y'all know how I feel about the Four of Pentacles, but looking at all of this and taking into account what I'm about to say with you guys, overall energy, I see clearly what's happening here, and I see two pathways in which this could be manifesting, but at the root of it all, it's the same thing. So Karmic Relationships, those of you who are also new, don't know about the book that I put out like, 2-3 years ago, that's called Mother Fuck Twin Flames. And I have an entire ethos behind this. The title is what it is because I'm facetious. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a sacred rebel, dagnabbit. I just like doing stuff that's just cray, you know? But those who were able to get past the title of the book and actually hear me out, learned a great deal. And I'm re-releasing that book this year because it's a lot of updates to it. My assistant was telling me too, hey Cece, I don't know if you're gonna watch Pisces because I don't think you have that in your chart, but anyway, but if she's in the premiere, hey, she's the woke assistant, love your face. Anyway, moving right along. But with that, there's a lot of people who've been asking about the book, and I took it down on Amazon more for me than anything else. It's really because, and this is a truth moment, people, when I put that book out, my channel, I hadn't had my channel for very long, but I was terrified of being honest. So I completely butchered the book. Like right before it went to print, I was like taking massive pages out because I was terrified of upsetting people, because like I didn't want to hurt people's feelings and stuff like that. So I took a whole bunch of stuff out of the book. And my conviction for that was so strong that I was just like, I need to take it down. You know what I mean? So for those who have read it, if you ever notice choppiness in it, that's because I did that. But since I've taken it down, it's just different insights I've received in reference to that. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of it today because this came up in your cards. But just for those of you who are interested in it, I'll keep you guys posted. Even if you never thought that you were in a twin flame relationship, things that are in that book are exceptional contributions to your overall journey. So even if you've never been in a situation like that, you can get a great deal out of it, because the entire book is pretty much the whole premise of what my channel has been since it started, with 4 different names. And I think now we're on number 5 or something. I don't even know. Moving right along, Pisces. See, I can do that with y'all. Y'all let me just like talk to y'all and stuff, and I feel all loved and things. Okay, anyway, so the thing I think is interesting with these 2 cards is with Fall Into My Arms and with karmic relationships, when we're talking about energy signatures here, we're talking about polarity. We're talking about dualism. You know what I'm saying? Like the dyad nature that exists in humanity. And the thing I think is interesting with this is specifically Pisces, and there's 2 other signs. So I'm already going to tell you guys most definitely. And this is regardless, I should say irregardless. Okay, sorry. Regardless of the fact, if you don't have Sagittarius or Gemini in your chart, it does not matter. I would highly suggest, especially with Temperance being here and that being a Sag energy, even if it's not in your chart, you need to watch Sag's reading and you need to watch Gemini's reading. Now, I'm going to tell you why that is based on these 2 cards, but I feel everyone in the collective should already watch Gemini's reading because we're in Gemini season. And then on top of that, in the latter part of the month, we're going to be in Cancer season. So it would behoove you to watch that too. But the North Node is in Gemini. So when we're talking about North Node in your birth chart, of course, that's what you're aspiring to. But more or less, the collective at large, we're all aspiring to what a person who had Gemini in their North Node in their birth chart, so in the collective birth chart of humanity, that's what we're all aspiring to now, which is integration, which is everything that your reading is about, Pisces, because there's, you know, we have fixed signs and cardinal signs, and you have mutable signs. What I'm talking about that Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini are, of course, you guys are mutable signs with Virgo, you know what I mean? Which means that you guys walk on the cusp of life. So it's more or less, you guys exist as what a fixed sign would be and what a cardinal sign would be. So you're loyal and you're dedicated, but you're also like adventurous and you take chances and whatnot, depending on the situation. But specifically, when we're talking about duality signs, Virgo isn't included in that. It's different than the whole fixed sign thing. We're talking about Pisces, Gemini, and Sagittarius. So if you look at the symbolism for these signs, like Sag is half man, half beast. You know what I mean? With a little bow and arrow and things. Then with Pisces, you have 2 fish. And then with Gemini, you have your twins, right? And what we're really talking about with this is yin and yang energy. You know what I'm saying? So what I feel for you guys, and why I think it's funny that the karmic relationship thing came up, is because with these specific 3 signs, the biggest challenge in you guys' life at large is that integration aspect. But as you're going through your journey, like all of us, there's a level of projection that happens, like how I talked about in MF Twin Flames, about the mirror effect and everything. That happens with everyone in life. We all project, but specifically in partnerships such as this, like with any of you who are familiar with like twin flame relationships and stuff, and it's the whole conflict and the runner and the chaser, and you know, one is trying to heal, the other one is trying to heal, and as you heal, then the other heals, and the whole thing is union in the end. Well, with these 3 specific signs, big picture with this, the biggest lesson that most all Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces people learn is that in the former parts of their life, it's all about relationships. It's, relationships being a huge part of your journey, a desire to be married, a desire to, spend your life with someone else. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But usually, and this is me just generally speaking, is usually a conflict. And even if you have it in your Venus and stuff too, there's generally a conflict around relationships and them not working out. You know what I mean? And the purpose of that is where this karmic element comes in, because the biggest life lesson for Sag people, Gemini people, and Pisces people is usually what you're seeking in a partner, or the role that you feel that a partner would play in your life, or what it is that you give to a partner or other people, whatever the case may be, because it manifests differently for different people. But what you give to other people, or what you're looking for, the solace that you feel you would achieve from the right partnership, is what you are ultimately going to learn you're supposed to be giving yourself. Now, some of you guys have gotten to that point already, because there was an epic shift with that. I think in a lot of, in the spiritual community, I would say what is 2020? Somewhere between 2016, and we talk about that in the Woke book too, between 2016 to maybe in the middle of 2018, twin flames were at their absolute height. And since then, it's kind of dwindled down since then. And those of you who know, I have like a whole group on Facebook that's all about twin flames and things of the sort. But anywho, I say all of that to say that this is a huge part of what it is that you guys are dealing with this month. So this is more or less like past tense, and why things have transpired the way that they have is because it's the purpose of that whole specific relationship, or the different relationships that you've been in, or friendships, family members, whatever, any relationship you have with people that's constant conflict. It could even be with a boss. The whole purpose of that is not so much to look outside of you for something, but it's to integrate those two facets of yourself. You know what I mean? And that's not just for Pisces, that's for Gems and for Sag people too. It's just that you guys' life paths always centralizes around your romantic relationships, family relationships, and, friendships and things of the sort. But like what Fall Into My Arms is talking about is, as opposed to fighting these energies or trying to be one and the other, which is a huge theme for Gemini, I've been saying has been happening since 2019. We're talking about transmutation, and transmutation is what the Temperance card is all about. You know what I'm saying? It's that homeostasis and that balance that that we exist in. Like I call it the middle road. It's how you ascend from sensory consciousness, or what most people would call the matrix, into the higher mindset or Christ consciousness, and you're transmuted, meaning it's not just like you being different or whatever. It's like you start to operate as an entirely different being. You know what I mean? You're showing up totally different. And that's like that hidden behind the veil middle road that, you don't see it until you do, type of deal. So that's really what the big thing is here, because you guys are coming into the month of June with the 5 of Pentacles, and those two groups I was talking about, I looked at the time, I was like, what? Anyway, the two groups I was talking about is meaning that there's some of you where you're coming in feeling a way about a relationship that isn't working out. Like, so it's either being with someone and feeling alone, right? Or it's a relationship that, you guys already broke up and it's feeling alone. With others of you, it's financial stuff. So it's coming into the month feeling as if things in your life are more or less like stagnated, or that you're down on your luck, if you will. But with the central energy that we have with the 7 of Pentacles, the central theme about this month of June, it's going to be a lot of self-reflection on if it's worth it. Because I feel it's starting to realize, especially with this 10 of Wands up here, like it's a sense of being unfulfilled and feeling it's like a very cumbersome kind of feeling, if you will. It's carrying this burden, and this month is going to be all about asking yourself, is it worth it? Like, am I really investing my time in the right place? Like, is me working this job, is it worth all of the hours that I work? Like, am I really getting, compensated financially for all of the energy that I'm putting in? Or looking at your friendships and relationships and kind of wondering, am I really getting something out of this? Like, all of this that I do for them, everything that I invest into them, is this being reciprocated? So it's more or less you guys are weighing your options and kind of sorting through things. And I feel that this was instigated by this feeling of disappointment in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean? It's almost like it was an aha, where you saw what the underlying energy with the Four of Pentacles is, either financially, like I said, or it's just like energy in the sense of relationships, that what you've invested, it's realizing like, wow, this is off kilter. Like, I'm putting a lot into this. I'm always there for this person. They're not there for me. Or, in all of my relationships in my life, I've always invested into people and been there for people, or, been loving to people, been loyal and this and that, but I've never received that back, so to speak. So I do feel y'all are coming into the month, and it's kind of a sad kind of energy, but with your challenge being the Death card, and this is another thing, like with this Ten of Wands, what I'm seeing with this, like at this moment, looking down at it, it's, do I want to say lack mentality? It kind of is, because looking at the Five of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Ten of Wands, like these three cards, it's this energy is showing me that these two mentalities, like, I mean, this is dope that you're, evaluating things, but I feel the reason why I need to say this and why we have the Death card challenging it, which is indicative of the fact that there needs to be a transformation with it being in your block position. It's more or less that this change or this transformation is being resisted, which is why Temperance would be in the reverse. It's like, with it being upright, it's saying that you guys are going to have this transformation. With it being in your below root energy, if this was upright, it's letting me know that this is coming up to change all of this. However, this transmutation can't happen because all of these energies in essence are blocking it, which is why I feel like your potential going into July is the Three of Swords. And that more or less brings me to this Four of Pentacles in the reverse too. But it's what I want to say about that, why I showed you all of these cards, is more or less because you're seeing your situation through your pain, right? So it's not seeing all of this for what it really is. And the easiest way for me to explain this would be if I went back to a person where this is a relationship. So say hypothetically, and those of you where this has nothing to do with love relationships, just listen to the themes, my friend. But it's more or less, okay, so you're coming into June and you're feeling upset because it's, yet another relationship that didn't work out, or it's like you're just kind of reflecting and you're seeing how relationships didn't work out, or you're not fulfilled in a relationship or whatever. And it's bringing you to the past where you're kind of just thinking about all the stuff that's never worked out, and I've never really been loved, and I don't know what that's like, and right? So it's that mindset that instigates you to start looking at why is that? Like, why does stuff never work out? Why do people always do that? And every single time I meet someone, this and that. Now, why I feel this Death card is coming up and us seeing the Temperance here is because with your above energy, meaning like your perception and how you're seeing things and so on and so forth, with the Ten of Wands, it's not seeing things for the truth of what they really are. It's seeing the situation from like through the eyes of your pain, which brings us back to the Five of Pentacles. You know what I'm saying? So it's only seeing what's wrong. It's seeing the situation for what it is, how it is at this present moment, and then looking back at the past, not with an objective view, but a subjective view. You know what I mean? So as opposed to looking back at these relationships and seeing like the lessons that you learned or something that you found out about yourself, or that, I listened to my intuition and I, broke up with this person and found out 2 weeks later they had a husband or a wife or something like that. Instead of looking at it as an evolution in your life or lessons that have been learned, it's just seeing the negative or the downtrodden perspective of it. So I feel the reason why that's coming up is not to make you guys feel away or nothing like that. It's just to be cognizant of that so that you allow yourself to look at the bigger picture of all of this, right? Which is what the eclipse we just had is all about, because it is an opportunity for you guys to transform. However, you have to be willing to change. And I feel this is more or less a change of perspective. So looking at the situation differently than you typically do. So challenging yourself to see the higher points or the positives in the situation as opposed to the negative. Now, those of you who have the woke book, that's why in the timeline, why I have at the top, it's all of the positive experiences over the last 10 years. And then at the bottom, it's all the negative experiences over the last 10 years. Because you want to look at both of those, because in hindsight, something that you would consider negative, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago, when you look at how that experience, altered how you perceive things to where, 4 or 5 years later, you reacted to something differently. Like say if you stayed in a relationship for 10 years before, and then when you met someone who showed the red flags that you learned from dating this person 10 years ago, as opposed to sticking with them for another 10 years, you didn't go on date number 5 or something like that. So that means that this experience that we once upon a time considered negative really isn't negative. It's actually positive because it contributed to your growth. You know what I mean? So I feel there's an objective view like that needs to happen, but it's more or less you guys being shown like all of the modes of attack and options of your situation so that when you're doing this reflection, you can do it from a detached, objective place as opposed to like a subjective, oppressed kind of vision. I really hope that makes sense, my friend. But with this 3 of Swords that we have going forward into July, and with this being incorporated with this 4 of Pentacles, it's telling me that there's a level of heart work that's going on here and forgiveness. And that's forgiveness either for someone in your past. And I know that makes people feel away, but I'm just saying, and I mean forgiveness in the sense of not, because forgiveness isn't saying that what a person did to you is okay. Like this card talks about surrender. It's like surrender and forgiveness is really about you releasing yourself. Because when you're holding unforgiveness for someone who hurt you in the past, and I think I said this like in Libra or somebody, when you hold unforgiveness for people, this person is still very much in control of your life and you're allowing it. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I said, this was Libra. I think I said this. And it's like, if a person hurt you 10 years ago and you warded off relationships and said, I will never, ever open my heart again. I will never, ever trust people again because of what this person did. You've now altered the course of your life because of one person. This person is whistling Dixie and still living their best life, but you're holding yourself back and altering what you would have naturally done because of what one person did. So that's how we disempower ourselves and we give our power over to other people. You know what I mean? So of course we all have free will. So I feel like you're getting the perspective of everything that's happening. So when you're weighing your options and you make your choice, it's based on you have the opportunity to release the past. And if you've already forgiven that person, what would be needed, and the thing that's most often overlooked, is self-forgiveness. It's forgiving yourself for allowing a person like that to hurt you or putting up with somebody's crap or whatever the case may be in your specific situation. But that opens you up to where you're able to move forward, because it's a sense of stagnation that's happening. And it's because you need to see it from another perspective, from a higher perspective, if you will. Because I feel any level of like, feeling stuck or why it feels like things aren't kind of changing, it's because what I always say with the 4 of Pentacles, it's like when we shut our heart space off, we lose our connection with spirit and we end up becoming ungrounded, and we're transferring, this shut off of our emotional space into something else, which goes into the other group of where this could all be a financial thing, where it's like you're spending way too much money, or you can't figure out why it is that you can't save. And with like looking at it like needing to create more of like a healthy relationship with money, because it's an imbalance with this temperance. So it's either with physical stuff or it's with relationships, where a lot is going out, but nothing is coming back in. So there's no reciprocity for what's going out. And going back to what we were saying in the very beginning, this has a huge thing to do with you guys' overall life journey, is learning how to walk this middle road, how to be that temperance balance, because balance is not a state that we aspire to and achieve it and we have it. Because I say that all the time with balance. Balance is something that's maintained. It's like driving a car. I always use this example when I'm teaching people about what it means to be balanced. Like when you drive your car, you're not holding your steering wheel like this to stay straight. In order for you to stay straight, you're making minor adjustments, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right to stay straight. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with cultivating balance in your life. It's a little bit of minor adjustments to maintain homeostasis. It's not about getting somewhere and staying there. And overall, with you guys being a mutable sign, that's more or less the dance you guys are doing your entire life. So whenever it comes to you acting like me, double Taurus, fixed sign over here, you don't want this life, man. I'm just saying, because that starts to stagnate your energy. And I feel like that's what's happening with this Four of Pentacles. So it's time for you guys to step into that other facet of yourself, right? Where it's more that masculine energy, where it's about this, action, moving, and it's using both of them to help each other out. It's like you use your feminine to get clarity of your emotional space, to get clarity and connection to spirit, to understand what's happening, what's going on, and you use your masculine to act on that. You know what I mean? You don't want to spend too much time in one or the other, because that's how you get this imbalance. So I hope that this made sense. I don't know what's going on in America, but y'all, I swear, and I've been telling this to everybody I know, I feel like I just be talking. I don't know if like my Gemini rising is being like activated on fleek on some stuff, but I feel like I just be talking, yakking. So I hope it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments below. But anywho, I'm going to go over to Vimeo, my website, or YouTube or Patreon, wherever it is that you watch my extendeds, so we can get into the specifics even more so with you guys, cards and whatnot or whatever. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. But if not, I still love your freaking face, and I will see you guys sooner than later. Deuces. For those of you where this would be a relationship type of thing, whether it's past or present, I would see these not resourceful, has no potential, is non-committal, gets people excited about things, but never ever follows through on stuff like that. So it's a lot of false promises. It's kind of like that whole mirror effect thing I was saying in the beginning, with potential that you guys could meet someone at the end of